Hello, I am Alex Mack, known as Mack Daddy, part of Schmoebates here with the Call to Action team. And we are going to be doing some really amazing debates today. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good. How are you?
Doing amazing. Can't complain. Oh my gosh. So many things are going on. The award shows next week. New Year's Eve just happened last night. Chris, how are you?
I am doing very well. Glad to join you guys here today. I'm just glad you're doing okay today too, Alex.
Am I okay? I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. Did you have a good New Year's?
Yeah, got to hang out with you guys on the ladies' night, so that was a ton of fun.
Ladies' night. That's true. Yeah, so we definitely always love you in the chat for sure. And Meg, welcome to being part of Schmoebates for the first time. Not only that, but you and I were chatting earlier, and this is one of your first involvements with like Schmoedown reactors and podcasts and that kind of thing. So welcome.
Yeah, great to be here. Definitely first time being on this side of it. I've loved kind of following on with you guys doing chats and interacting with you that way, but being on the side of the screen is kind of fun. It's exciting.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see you in action with all your debate skills. I'm so here for it. And Caleb, what's up, dude? How you doing?
I am good. I'm Caleb Little Boatman. You may know me from Multiplex Entertainment, where we run trivia, or you may know me from NBE Live, New British Empire. Then there's Schmo Center Reaction Show, where I yell at Tony Heald all the time.
That's a heel? I thought it was just your natural personality.
No, Tony Heald, the runner of that was, yes.
I love Tony. He's great. He's wonderful. Yeah. He's a wonderful guy. All right, perfect. Well, we have some wonderful people in the chat, really kind of specifying. I was like, is Sen running Meg's feet? What up? And oh my gosh, and Robert, right there with you. Look at my little bro on camera. I think
I'm gonna go end him real quick.
That's true. Okay, well, let's do this. I'm so excited. We're going to be going over some really big questions. And one of my favorite people of all time, Rachel, is saying, hey, boo, what's up? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be going over some big questions today. So, and I know you guys all prepared. We told you just a few days ago. It's getting intense. Okay, so we're going to start with some of our opening statements. I know, Meg, you got first dibs on this question. Therefore, you are going to get to start first on opening statements. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, totally. I can hear you for sure. You're freezing up a wee bit, but that's probably my end. Chris, you got the timer ready for 60 seconds?
Let's get it going.
Let's get it going. Schmo back time.
Yep.
All right. And Chris, you want to read the first question? I'm going to pull up the banner here in a hot minute. And the first question is,
what incoming rookie has the most potential to be drafted and succeed in their league?
All right. 60 seconds on the clock. Let's do this. Go ahead and hit it.
Go.
So when I thought about this question, I was thinking, what does it take to really succeed in the Schmoedown? It used to be you could just be someone who's really good at trivia and you were able to get by with that. It's no longer the case anymore. You have to be able to be a high-level personality, be able to have an instant following of fans to support you and to be able to get you to come in as much as possible. So when I was thinking of that, looking at the incoming list, and Ben Goddard was who came to my attention. He's someone who we've seen on SEN Live since the very beginning. He's developed his own little fan group, for better or worse, with some of the things that he's done. So I think he already has a great start to building that great personality, and the trivia will just come as he's able to train.
Good.
Okay. Do you want to wrap it up, or do you want to keep going until you run out of time?
Oh, I think I'm good with that.
All right. All right. So we're going to be moving on over to Caleb. Caleb, you have 60 seconds on the clock, and just bringing that question up again on what incoming rookie has the most potential to be drafted and succeed in their league. And what was your choice?
Okay, I do want to, before we get started, say Robert Parker was not available to pick her. That's who I
Oh
would have
yeah,
picked.
sorry. Just to specify in there, I only allowed me so many characters, so I had to omit like that part.
I just
We
didn't want
wanted to
Robert to yell
include
at me because he
Parker,
would-
but because he's been talked about so often, everyone is already like he is going to be already the rookie of the year kind of thing. There's a lot of that talk already, so we don't want to kind of shoot that out a little bit where it's like it feels a little too obvious at this point. So that's just because of that lack of characters on the banner, though. But regardless, that aside, who did you choose, Caleb?
Okay, well, I picked somebody who we have game tape on that they have succeeded in the trivia element, which is the most important element of the Schmoedown. I've picked Marisol McKee, somebody that if you're just familiar with SEN and the Schmoedown, you probably don't know, but if you keep up with the fan leagues, the place where we got players like Paul Oyama, Chance Ellison, and even Kevin Smets for a while, Marisol has done very well in the fan leagues. She won her Warzone debut match. She's done very well in Full Metal Classic. She has shown that she has that trivia knowledge, and I think she might not go like early on in the draft, but she's going to be like a great like fifth round pick, like a fifth round sleeper pick. And then she's going to succeed because we know she has that trivia knowledge, which is the most important element in the movie Trivia Schmoedown. And I'll yield the rest of my time.
All right, Chris, you and me. Oh man. Okay, so we have some very different approaches to some of these choices for potential, really big time rookies coming into next year for 2020. What did you think of these picks, Chris?
Well, I mean, I think both are already jumping off from a good standpoint for their picks. You've got Ben, who's got that on-screen presence. You've got Marisol, who's had that experience. Both of these are really strong picks. I think both are gonna do well going into this next season. But
yeah,
I'm interested to see how they carry these arguments a little bit further.
Absolutely. It's definitely, I feel like some interesting picks. We definitely do know a little bit more of Ben in particular because he obviously, like you said, he does have the online following. He is very involved with Sen a lot. He already has that, group of people that are already kind of fangirling over him. I know I do. He's such a cool guy on
I do
Sen.
too.
He's great. He's a cool guy. He really is. He has a really great personality, great for storylines, great on camera. I did notice you didn't really talk about his trivia knowledge all that much, but like I mentioned, I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. And Caleb, you chose Marisol. She's great in the fan leagues. She just started, I think, not too long ago, just a few months ago. But she does have a lot of potential, and she could be a potential sleeper pick. So again, very different approaches to these picks today. All right, so we're going to be going into the debate here in a hot second. And so we're going to be mixing it up a little bit. I know usually we go with 4 minutes, but I was chatting with Megs, Caleb, and Chris, and we were like, you know what? If it's like a really good, back and forth and debate, who knows? Maybe we can go beyond that. So let's keep it up. Let's see what happens. All right, we can start with 4 seconds. Sorry, not 4 seconds, 4 minutes, Chris. And again, I'll let you just let you take the reign on that. Okay. And let's hear you guys really beat each other up with words. Let's do it.
All ready?
Go. Caleb, since I went first, go ahead and come at me first.
Okay, yeah. So the biggest problem with Ben is that we don't know the trivia knowledge there. Like, we know he talks a lot on like SEN and all those networks, but there have been players like who are great, like, say a Perry Nemiroff or a Hal Rudnick, right? Who they talk a lot of movies all the time, but when it comes to can you pull that information in 15 seconds, they've shown that they've been okay, but not great with the likes of like Dan Murrow and Bibiani or even Paul Oyama, like the people who play in the families. Paul Oyama, Chance Ellison, Kevin Smets have all shown that if you can succeed in the fan leagues, you can succeed in the Schmoedown.
Very good point. However, I will point out that he is very grossly engulfed in SEN, which has Christian Harloff in it. Ben Bateman has been on there. A lot of big movie trivia, Schmoedown personalities have been on those shows as well as backstage. And I guarantee you that Ben is listening in the background. He's picking up on these tips, and he does all the research for SEN or pulls up all the different articles, so he knows how to study for this. We haven't necessarily seen what his full knowledge is, but I guarantee you he is fully engulfed in it. And as far as being able to answer the questions, he comes back with some pretty fast wit, so his mind's sharp enough to keep up with everything that's going on.
And those are definitely fair points. But again, he's focusing mostly on new movie news, right? Movies that are coming out or about to come out, right? He's not really focused on the stuff from the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, the 2000s even. You know, he's very much directed on that, and he's very busy with stuff like SEM and that, because he is the guy who pulls all that stuff up. So he doesn't really have time to go back and study the stuff from the 90s, the 80s. You know, that's the stuff that you do kind of pick up when you're playing in Warzone, and that's the kind of stuff that Marisol already knows that she has to study for to prepare. And I think because she doesn't have a job in the industry, she's actually able to put more time into just watching whatever she wants instead of having to review or keep up with the new releases.
So I was able actually to watch both of the matches that she's done so far, and yeah, she was impressive, but she definitely got in her own way. And I will also say too, to perhaps her disadvantages, so far she's played in the comfort of her own home with still the time frame that she has to answer within, but it's way different than being under the lights, being underneath all that pressure of people watching you, which Ben is very much used to. Again, I don't discount that he's going to have some trouble with being able to keep up with the older stuff or catch up on the older stuff. But again, he's got people around him that will be able to help him fill in those gaps. And especially if he gets drafted by, like, say, the Finstock Exchange picks him up. You know, Ben Bateman has the formula to really tighten up a mediocre player. So depending on where he ends up, if he's able to be picked up by somebody who has a very strong manager, it's going to just accelerate him that much further into what he's very much capable of from a personality standpoint.
And that's fair. There's no guarantee he gets drafted by the Finstock Exchange. You know, that draft's crazy. You know, go basically anywhere. Like, I've run 7 different versions of the draft, and they're all different because it's impossible to predict this draft, right? On Marisol, though, I do want to point out, she did very well in her debut. She got a 72% accuracy. And if you know Warzone questions are very hard in comparison to the Schmoedown, so that is a very impressive accuracy.
Time.
Woo! Okay. How do you guys feel? Megs, Caleb, that was quite a little debate there. Now, if you are just dropping in, I'm just going to remind you of the question: what incoming rookie has the most potential to be drafted and succeed in the league? And we are omitting Robert Parker due to his immense success in the fan leagues.
Hype.
Yes. There you go. Yeah, but Meg, you chose Marisol Marquis, and Caleb choosing. Oh, sorry, the other way around.
Okay, flip it.
Sorry, other way around, like flips. Thank you. Caleb, you chose Marisol Marquis, and Megs, you chose Ben Goddard. So absolutely. Well, Chris, what were your? I don't want to say just takeaways. What were some of the big trends you kind of noticed in Meg's kind of arguments?
Well, the big thing for her, I like that she made mention that he's around folks like Ben Bateman. He's around, these veterans, around Christian, around these veterans like on SCN, on Backstage. One thing also is that he is actually in the studio all the time. I've seen him in various exhibitions or whatever. I've seen him pop on camera a few times in the background. He's been in the studio also. So he's around the game. He's watching the game. So just the fact that he's around these people is super helpful. I like that trend that she was going for there. That's really kind of covers that basis of the fact that we haven't seen his trivia knowledge just quite yet.
Yeah, I mean, it seems very clear, like you said, that Megs, you really kind of point out he's very comfortable being around this kind of group of people. He's comfortable also working under the lights. He's comfortable working under that kind of pressure. He has these relationships with Christian and people with all these competitors. So he's kind of familiar with that kind of world. But does he have a lot of his knowledge? Is it really focused almost exclusively in new releases? We don't know. Maybe not. We're not sure yet. But also Marisol Marquis is very opposite, very different for sure. She's not directly, she hasn't really worked directly under the lights. She doesn't have a job in the industry that we know of. And so she would have to work that much harder in order to gain that kind of, knowledge within film. But like you mentioned, maybe it's more across all genres, not just new releases, like you said, Ben might potentially have, but she has worked well with a handful of matches that she's been in with really great accuracy ratings in the 70-ish percentages, like you said. But like you said, a lot of former belt holders and everything, they came from the fan leagues. You mentioned Chance, Oyama. If you can succeed in the fan leagues, you are potentially more likely to succeed in Schmoedown overall. So very different approaches over here. Okay.
Yeah, I like that towards the end you brought up her stats. You brought up where she was like in the fan league. That was something I was actually really looking for from your argument there, and I'm glad you brought it there at the end, because without that I was getting a little worried.
Well, Chris, is there anything you really want to hear from Megs and Caleb as we kind of go into our closing statements? I'm also going to bring up a handful of comments as well, but you can go ahead with what you kind of want to hear from their closing statements.
Just more overall, like, having been in the studio, I've seen like what the lights does to new competitors. One specifically, you're not going to touch on that. I've seen how that works though, so kind of like just taking in that into consideration. I know Meg's touched on that a little bit with Ben Goddard being around SCN, but kind of just that's going to come into play. It's gonna be a major affecting thing. So how quickly do you think your choice is going to overcome that and be able to move on past it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really crazy what the lights can really do for you. It's comes down to not only that, but are you comfortable with that kind of world? It's very much outside your comfort zone. But also, I mean, like, realistically, how strong is your knowledge? I know we have some people supporting a boat fella over here, Fetus Power. From Albert. We love Albert. Ooh. Damn, shots fired at Robert. Whammy.
Oof.
Mariano, he's kind of mentioning Boatman's doing a really great job arguing in for the fan leagues in particular. But AJ is really kind of mentioning Ben is in an industry boat. He's a bartender that shows up for Sen, and he showcased a lot of really good core knowledge. So very different skill sets we got going on here. And we can't forget his amazing free-for-all performance.
Well, that's Brett. They're talking about Brett Sheridan.
Oh, well, still. But also, that's true. That was like his free-for-all performance. I mean, it's pretty dope. Let's be honest. Okay, awesome. Let's go to 60 seconds on the clock. Meg, you're going to start with your closing statement. And let's get going. You ready, Chris?
And go.
So mentioning that both of our choices have unknowns, everybody in this rookie league, in this rookie class, is going to be a lot of unknowns. But what do we know so far about Ben Goddard? We know that he has a thick skin. We know he can take all the shots that get thrown at him that happens at SCN Live. Need I mention anything about the Schmoebot? There is so much about him that is very not easily intimidated, that he's not going to get nervous underneath the lights. And knowing that he has all these people around him that are so easily accessible to him to give him more knowledge, he's not going to have a problem filling in those gaps as far as he goes. You can train someone in movie knowledge to get them better, but it's much more difficult to craft a magnetic personality, and that is what Ben Goddard has. In just a short time that we've seen him on SCN Live, he has that personality to be able to drive him forward with the fans and to be easily loved, and that's also going to be attractive to people that are drafting him.
It's time.
All right.
Okay. I like how you really kind of talked about also as well that more access to something I thought something was kind of interesting. You kind of mentioned being part of that with his connections that he has so regularly. He could have potentially more access to being on consistently in more matches and more storyline, which Marisol, she hypothetically wouldn't have potentially because she doesn't live in LA, I don't think, right?
Is she West Virginia? Is that what I hear?
Yeah, so she hypothetically she couldn't drop in for a scene.
Well, I mean,
Hypothetically.
Yama doesn't live in, LA. Chantel doesn't live in LA.
Okay, yeah.
No,
You know what?
absolutely.
Let's like bring that into your closing statement. Yeah, I was kind of curious. Okay. And you got 60 seconds, Caleb.
There you go.
Okay, well, let's talk about the big point of personality. Marisol has shown that she can be a very dynamic and interesting face, which a lot of the fan leaguers that come in, and a lot of the characters that come in just in general tend to be few. And I think a good face is a lot more rare, and I think that's going to be interesting. And I think Harloff is going to know that, and I think he's going to utilize that in storylines. And, they shoot a lot in one day, so they can shoot scenes with Marisol on the day that she is there. And I got to disagree with you saying that, trivia is very easy to get better at. Like, it's really not, especially if you are very busy working a bartender job and being on SCN. You don't have time to just watch everything you want to watch, and that's kind of an important thing. Whereas Marisol, she's shown that she watches a lot, and she has that 72% accuracy. And you can say, the lights, that's like an intense thing, but you look at Aoyama. Oh, time?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Chris, for future reference, can you do like a quick countdown, like letting her know when he has 30 seconds and 5 seconds, that kind of thing?
Sure.
Yeah, just a heads up. All right. Okay. So, now I don't know where I want to go with. I'm going to postpone putting in my answer, and we're going to go ahead and go over to the audience. Okay, so something that won't get me mentioned is that Marisol has potential to fill the spot left by Shovel as a top female competitor. Okay, great mentioning. That's something that's a solid argument. Okay, and Bowman said it's going to need a hell of a lot closer here to knock down Goddard. Whew. Coming in hot here at him. Mm-hmm.
You too,
Okay.
John? You too?
But while I said I'm really liking the knowledge going on this match, clearly you guys are very knowledgeable behind both of these competitors. So, it's like you definitely did a lot of research, which we love. Okay. All right. But we also have some people being like straight up. I say Meg. I say Ben has been, let's see. Ben has said he's been watching a lot of the older episodes and have been uploaded. Whammy. So we have a lot going on here. Chris, if you were to vote right now, who would you vote for?
Oh, you gotta put this on me right now.
No pressure, but if you don't choose the right person,
I feel like I gotta go with Megs and Ben over here.
Really? Why is that?
Because she's bringing up a lot to do with, like, here's the thing, like, yeah, we haven't seen Ben's actual trivia knowledge, but I do know that he runs a YouTube channel, and do not tell me that running a YouTube channel is not good enough for knowing knowledge. I will fire back at that, but
Not dare.
We do know that he's got an excuse to continually be up on movies, to know movies. We know that he's seen movies. He's seen a ton of movies, and then, like she was saying, he's around those people all the time. He's been under lights, not necessarily the actual Schmoedown lights, but he's been under lights. He's been having to perform live stream. He does his own live streams on his own channels. Okay. He does all sorts of stuff. Like he doesn't get intimidated. I think that is all going to play really big into how he's able to perform just in this whole first year for him.
For sure. I would have to say I hear everything you're saying, and I disagree with you. I would personally vote in favor of Caleb today. My heart, I love Ben. I love him on set and everything, but based on the arguments alone, I personally would have to go on with Caleb. Something you really mentioned was something that Meg didn't really touch all that much, is that a lot of really successful competitors come from the fan leagues, and they have succeeded long-term in fan leagues. And so I didn't see you touch on that all that much. I saw you touch on a lot of the other points. But that's just me. Now, I am double-checking the post right now, and it is not posted. Why aren't they posted? They need to be posted. I'm going to make sure the questions and everything are ready to go here in a hot minute. So if you have your opinions and we're excited to vote, please remember that. and be ready to vote here in like 10 minutes on that. On that note, we're going to go ahead and move on to our second question. Okay, and this time around for our second question, it is going to be, which new faction is going to be the most successful faction by the end of season 7, year 2020? So we have a bunch of new potential factions, and new and old. So I'm excited to see what you guys say to this. And I know, Megs, you started last time with our first questions. So Kayla, that means you go first on your opening statement for this question.
Okay.
You ready with the timer for 60 seconds?
Yep. And go.
Okay, well, I'm picking based on the manager, because I think that's really the important part, is what can this manager bring to the table. So I'm going for the manager that knows the Schmoedown inside out, the manager who knows how to study and help their competitors and has proven that they can do so. I'm going with Emma Fyfe and the Fyfe Club. I think that she has shown that she has studied with and helped. There's footage of her studying with the Shire Wolves and Mark and Draco. She has proven that she can help study in IG singles and teams, not just one of the 3 divisions. She can study for all 3 of them and really help her competitors in all 3 of those divisions. And I think that's so important, that she can actually be an involved manager in terms of strategy and studying, because that is the most important job of a manager. And I will yield the rest of my time.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, Megs, you got 60 seconds on the clock, girl. Let's hear it.
And go.
So when you're developing a faction, you want it to be something that people want to be a part of. That's going to play a big part into trades, storylines, having a group of people that people are going to want to be a part of. And there is no other manager that has been so highly touted by players this past year than Roxy Stryer. So the Rockstars are going to be my picks for that. Roxy has shown that she is there for her players. She's there to help them with studying. She's there to help calm their nerves. What she did with the Odd Couple, they were truly an odd couple and should not have worked, but they took the belts from the Shire Wolves. They did end up losing them. However, she was there for them. She almost got
10 seconds.
Snyder to a championship for singles. So she has shown the ability to get good players into a great position.
Okay. All right, so we have very different approaches, and Garth is super duper happy. You're putting down the rock star. His favorite faction up there. Hell yeah.
I saw that in the comments, and I had to
yeah,
chuckle
Garth
that a little bit.
If you don't know, if anyone guys is watching, if you didn't know, Garth is one of the most amazing Schmoedown fans out there. He's one of our favorites, absolutely. But also, he is actually one of the admins for the Rockstars fan group. So, snaps, bitch, snaps. Dwayne is also kind of bringing something up from before. Why does everyone keep saying a lot of successful competitors come from the fan leagues? There's like 10 out of the 140 on the draft list. That's less than 10%. Not hating. I'm just saying that's not a lot. So that's definitely bringing something right there.
Sure, I think it's more that the success rate of the 3 competitors who have played in the fan leagues, all 3 of them have held belts at one time.
That's true. That's true. That's a very solid argument for sure. I'm very biased towards Rockstar's personal, but I will only go by the arguments on this. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate that. All right, Chris, what are you kind of hoping it's going to be? Megs is kind of going to dive into here in a bit.
I think a big thing is touching a little bit on what they have done. I think both of them have done this here. Touch a little bit on what these managers have done, since they both pick managers that have already been managers before, which is I think was a really smart idea on both their parts, not to pick a new manager and try to guess where they're going to go, but pick managers who have been around. But just touch on where they have been and then how that might affect where they're going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really there's a lot of gray area as far as, obviously what their history is and what they plan to do in the new seasons, a lot of new kind of people. But Megs, you really kind of focus on, with Rockstar, she's likable. She's overall a wonderful person. I mean, who doesn't love Roxy? She's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Also, I mean, she's fabulous. But also she's really able to transform competitors. Snyder, he was able to go up against Oyama and almost took him down. The Odd Couple, they both really went in a 180, whereas they were almost on the brink of retirement, and Roxy was able to bring them back and really kind of calm their nerves and bring him to the belt. Fife Club, by extension, she hasn't been a manager for a hot minute. I think it's only been like a season. No, wait. It hasn't been a season. She switched to Commissioner Fife over the summer, didn't she?
No, she was the commissioner at the end of the Spectacular last year.
Okay, thank you.
So it's just been just over a year.
I
associate her with like Shirewolves and everything, and then I think Shirewolves, I'm like summer. So I kind of to like be specific on that. But you mentioned she's no stranger to working with competitors from all divisions, and she's able to, whether it be IG, singles, and teams, and she brings a lot of strategy as well as studying, to whoever joins her faction. So again, very different approaches for sure with this. All right, so let's go ahead and get debating, you guys. Let's hear ya. Okay,
right.
we can start with 4 minutes and kind of go from there. You guys ready, Chris?
Yep, here we go. 4 minutes and go.
You can start.
All right, go ahead. Thank you very much. So the big thing about Roxy and what she's going to be able to do with her faction moving forward is she's going to be able to take players that are kind of mediocre right now and feel like they're kind of on the outskirts, not really fitting in anywhere. She's going to give them a home. And she said so in her promo at Spectacular, which was fantastic. One of the best new manager and new faction promos that have came out of that. So she's going to bring that sense of belonging to characters that are really going to allow those competitors to shine. When it comes to those multiple divisions, there's a lot of transfer that can happen. Roxy may have never played, but again, she brings that emotional and physical and voice support that a lot of players that are new, that are coming in, are going to need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think the bigger issue with Roxy is she's very supportive, but look, I think she makes strategy errors a lot. Look at Snyder versus Oyama in the betting round. When Harry Potter spun, Snyder is clearly not happy with Harry Potter, and Roxy, it looks like, told him to bet because then Snyder bet, even though it clearly looked like he was not happy. He groaned after Harry Potter was spun, but then he talked to Roxy. He bet 2 or 3 points or however many he bet. Had he bet 0, Snyder would have been the singles champion and beaten Paul Oyama. So that's the biggest issue with Roxy here. And the other thing is that I think that Snyder and Draco, who that's going to be her first pick. The Odd Couple is going to be her first pick because they're her boys. She said that. Neither of them are very strong singles competitors. They've shown that they can't really make it in singles, at least to a belt right now.
So to that point, thinking about where she's sitting in the draft right now, when she gets to that 3rd round pick, if she decides to take the Odd Couple first, she's going to be at the top right behind Sam. So she's going to have a chance to get a really potentially very strong singles player. And again, with the way that she manages, she can take somebody who's, still good, but I mean, someone like an Ethan Irwin under her would be totally amazing. And what I'll say about Emma is, no, she also has Grace Hancock in as her advisor. And we saw this past year, Grace Hancock likes to play favorites. And that could really be detrimental to Emma if that kind of gets into her faction where she starts just showing favorites amongst her players based on what Grace Hancock is giving her. And with turn that Emma's taking, I could very easily see that happening. It's going to hurt her in the long run.
You see, I think that's kayfabe. I don't think that's really accurate as far as what's actually going on behind the scenes. That's just kayfabe, and that was character stuff in order to set Kalinowski going with Shannon, because and really Grace going with Emma. That was all kayfabe, not really actual mashup. But I do want to touch on Emma because I think she's in a great position because she doesn't have anybody she's managing currently, so she can take like a Tom or a Paulo Yama or a Paul Preston, or she could take a Robert Parker in round 2 because she's got that early round 2 spot because of the snake draft, and just run with it because she knows IG and she's going to have her ear to the ground and she's going to be looking at who can get me the best belts in each division. And I think, again, Roxy, if you think about that snake draft, right, if she picks Odd Couple first, which she said she's going to do, she's not going to be able to get a strong singles player because by the time it gets back to her in the 3rd round, that's going to be like 20 picks, 21. So
I know we're kind of put down the timer for 4 minutes. Specifically, Caleb, I'm kind of Caleb and Megs. I kind of want you both to answer this real quickly before we go into our closing statements as well. I know you guys talked about strategy, and you talked about their history of working with current belt holders, former belt holders, all that good stuff and everything. But I know I did mention in the question, they are technically new factions. I didn't hear you guys talk about any new potential players. So can you give me a quick synopsis of what new player you would love you feel like would be a perfect add-in or trade-in or whatever it might be to really join their team that you feel like they would definitely work well with? Like someone that they haven't been with, that they haven't like been paired up before?
So I guess for Roxy, I'd love to see her take somebody like a Haley Fouch, someone who's not super confident. Someone like Roxy can really kind of help booster that confidence of hers quite a bit. And kind of touching a little bit on the trade thing, I think Roxy's going to be able to put herself in a very good position because she'll take players that she can get and she'll get them up to a certain level, and everybody's going to want some of her players, and she is going to be able to say, I'm not interested. That's going to give her a lot of bargaining, and I don't see her doing any trades without really making sure that that's going to be the best for her players, instead of just going after the golden egg of a really great competitor if it's not going to work for her. Okay.
I mean, it sounds like overall you feel like Haley Fouch would be really great because, not only their personalities would mesh well together, they are no stranger to personality-wise, being really hanging out together, really good vibe. But also, it can help provide her a lot of the confidence because Haley already knows a lot of the trivia knowledge, but it's actually being under the lights and everything. You can help her. You feel like Roxy could really kind of work with her on in particular. Now, Caleb, over to you. Who do you feel like a new competitor would do really well joined with a 5 club?
I think Tom from Looney Bin would be absolutely perfect. I think he has that singles knowledge, or that basic general trivia knowledge, and I think Emma is going to be like, okay, you have the knowledge up to here. Now we're going to tell you how to strategize and actually play the game. And I think that's where Emma's going to be able to help. And I think that's where she's going to be very dangerous because she's going to be able to recognize the pure talent, because at the end of this day, it's about getting wins. It's about the competitors who can get the wins. And I think Emma's going to recognize who can bring me wins. And that's what it's all about.
Okay. All right. Oh, well, wrapping that up, Chris. Holy fucking cannoli. That was so much to go over. How do you feel about these two factions competitors? Is there one that you're more excited about?
Oh man,
I know, big question.
It is, right? I mean, these were just two solid picks. These were two of the best possible choices you guys could have picked, honestly, for this question. It's really difficult. I feel like I'm leaning. I feel like I'm leaning more towards the 5 club right now. I think that these picks and the with Emma being around and everything for as long as she has, I think this is the stronger of the two right now for me.
Gotcha. I mean, it sounds like, like you mentioned, it's not just about who you like better, obviously, but we have to think about just exclusively the arguments. We have some people are really passionate about some poutine and some fries. I don't know what this is all about.
I've had it. It's actually quite good.
Kelsey, I like garbage fries. Never had poutine. It's a lot of there's a lot of talk about this poutine and fried situation. I don't know what's going on here, guys. But specifically,
The chat's run amok.
Is Brooklyn real in the chat?
Run of gravy. We're like, yes. But yeah, it's really great picks. I feel like both. I'm actually excited for both of them to be really wonderful factions. Caleb, you really kind of talked about, history of working with these belt holders and strategy studying, something that Emma, as a former competitor, she's an ace at. She's able to work with already strong personalities and are really able to amp them up to the next level through the strategy, right? But Meg's overall. And also you chose Lunibin. He has a lot of the knowledge. However, he doesn't know the strategy. So that's a solid pick for him. And also you mentioned with Roxy, potentially if she were to add Haley, it's all about the confidence. She has the trivia. She needs the confidence more than anything because she knows a lot of that trivia. And she has a lot of that strategy down as well. But it's all about giving people a home, and good environments allow people to shine bright like a diamond. All right. Okay, so we're going to go into our closing statements. And I did not forget, guys. Just giving you a heads up. Did not forget about the closing statements. Chris, what are you hoping Megs and Caleb are going to really go into a little bit in the closing statements?
Let's see. I guess for Megs, maybe I'm more wanting to hear. I know there's only so far that Roxy's actually given us, but kind of hear like a little bit more like what all Roxy can do specifically for all the players, and then how does that affect, I guess, the whole faction as a whole. I know you touched on that a little bit already, but just I think a little bit more on that. And then I know for Caleb there, just I don't feel like I've heard enough of the benefit that Grace might add, being that advisor role, and where that's
That makes sense. That's true. What role would Grace be involved in the Five Club overall as an advisor? That's definitely something I'm curious to know about. And what about with the rock stars? Do you feel like there's any holes that you really need? You kind of want clarified a little bit more at all?
Maybe not so much. I mean, I just like to hear more, expanding more on the kind of the points that she's already made on those. There. So.
All right. Well, let's go into it. Starting with you, Caleb, with 60 seconds on the clock for your closing statements. Chris, you ready?
Ready and go.
Okay, well, I think Grace, in terms of an advisor role, I think she's going to really kind of help the more like confident, especially like during the promos, because I think she's going to be able to say, like, if you're playing against like a guy, right, some a Kalinowski, somebody who's going to do a little bit of smack talk, Grace is going to be able to clap back right at them and be like, no, this is my player, you don't touch them. And I think she's going to help kind of get those thoughts out of the competitor's head, and that's going to be very good. Again, I think we got to stress that Emma Fyfe has brought in her competitors to a title shot in singles, teams, and IG. And I think that is incredibly impressive. And belts in singles and teams and IG. Did you say time? Sorry?
No, keep going.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I think that's going to be very good. And I think because she doesn't have that grasp on somebody like the Odd Couple, she can go in so many different directions.
Yeah. So.
Awesome. And thank you for clarifying the potential role of Grace a wee bit more. Moving on to Meg. Let's hear you, girl. Let's hear you about the rock stars. Let's do it.
Go.
So in regards to what Roxy can do for her players, she can be whatever they need to be. She has on what she offers to her players, because she had to coach the Odd Couple very differently. She talked to Mark Andrego much different than the way she talked to Jeff Snyder. So that shows her versatility on the way she can coach her players. And when you look at a faction, when you look at a team, it's only as strong as its weakest players. So she's going to be able to take players and really bolster up those ones that need the shoring up and make them exceed to the best versions of themselves. Emma's very different than the Emma that we saw with the Shire Wolves. She has that edge to her that's going to make it very interesting to see how she interacts with her competitors versus Roxy, who's been very consistent in being the every type of manager that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm good.
Good timing. All right. Okay. So it's whammy. Okay. So it's really close. I know, Chris, you're just like crying into your hand, aren't you? You're like, oh God, the choice.
They're just so good. They're just both so good.
Very different approaches. And what my heart says and what my head says is a very different thing. Meg, just clarifying a little bit more, you kind of mentioned how versatile and multifaceted, Roxy would be. Roxy is as a manager. She's able to work with a lot of different personalities. She will be whatever that individual needs her to be.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of different personalities and a lot of different people, especially within Schmoedown, and everyone needs something a little bit different. Sometimes you need a shoulder to cry on. Sometimes you need someone to tell you to put your shit together or whatever it may be. And vice versa. You kind of went in Caleb about Caleb and Grace a little bit more. How Grace, is able to build that confidence for some of their competitors. They might have some of that confidence. So I think Garth really kind of reaffirmed, just said exactly what you said. Emma will be the heel potentially, and send Great out to do the dirty deeds while Emma tries to keep her hands clean. So very different approaches. Okay, and I know Jake is mentioning, thank you so much, Jake. The Facebook polls on the C2A page are up for both rounds, so please go vote. You can vote right now, or you can vote at the very end, now that everyone has said their closing arguments. For sure. Whew. Okay, anyone want to take a breather? Want to hang out for a minute? I know we're about to go into our third and final round, so it's getting pretty intense.
This one's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, all right. Okay, so I gotta know: are you guys pro poutine or anti poutine?
I've never had poutine.
Okay, do you know what poutine is?
I'm from Iowa. We have fries, and that's about it.
Where in Iowa are you from?
Des Moines.
I used to live in Des Moines.
Oh,
I used to
wow.
live in West Des Moines. Nuts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's where my mom was going to medical school up there, and that's where we were. We stayed up down there by the university. That's crazy though. I love Des Moines. It's a beautiful city. But yeah, and so we have some very big notes here. Rachel's like, first of all, poutine is delicious, and you're not wrong. So Meg, do you know what poutine is?
Yes, I first had it at a restaurant up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so very close to Canada, and it's very popular up there. And I have a cousin who loves it, and so every time we go up there, he has to get them. And I wouldn't want to eat them all the time, but they are excellent whenever I get a chance to have them.
Oh yeah, I mean, anything with cheese, it's cheese, fries, and gravy essentially.
Yes.
Is that right? I mean, is there extra toppings? I mean, that I don't know about. That's all I know. Those
are the mainstream ones. Those are the most common version of it. But there's always different versions of stuff that people spice it up differently. But yeah, basically cheese, gravy on top of fries.
It just sounds tasty.
And
Chris, you're down in Texas. I know you. Poutine's not exactly a super duper common thing. What do you love to eat? That's all with the potatoes and the cheesiness. What do you like to eat?
Oh man, if you're gonna bring potatoes and cheese, I mean, one of the big things, especially down here in Austin, we love our tacos. We love our breakfast tacos down here in Austin, and we love it with the potatoes and cheese in there as well. So, I mean, it's not poutine, which I have had poutine. Poutine is good. But
Do you like corn tortillas or flour tortillas?
Whatever you put in front of me.
That's fair. All right. Well, it sounds like Lucas, you might be wrong about poutine. So just saying. Yeah, I can feel him screaming on the inside. Cheese curds with brown gravy over fries is the way to go. You're welcome, Lucas. And Robert's definitely backing up with those breakfast tacos.
Of course, and I knew he would too.
And Justin, I am very sorry. We're still talking about food and you're getting hungry. I apologize. But we just can't stop. I mean, can we ever stop about food? Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're going to go into our third and final question.
Wait, before we do that, Rachel Silvestrini in the chat shouted out 2 of the best Des Moines restaurants, Zombie Burger and Fong's Pizza. So I just wanted to point that out.
Make the little note of that.
Good to know. Good note. Good note.
Mm-hmm. Rachel, I was chatting with her last night about it, and she's like, she's been everywhere. Like it was her it's her job to be everywhere essentially, and she knows all these amazing restaurants and really great places to be and all these awesome connections around. So if I'm going anywhere, I know who I'm going to hit up first. Be like, hey, where should I eat? That's for sure. Make a cookbook, Rachel. Get one of those travel cookbooks or something along those lines. I'd buy it. All right. Okay. So going into our third and final question. We're going to we're going to mix it up a wee bit. We're going to have a little more fun with this one. Something a little less serious, a little less divisive, hopefully, maybe. Chris. We are going to be doing our third and final question, which is, Chris, you want to read it?
Yeah. Which Schmoedown personality would make the best wingman for a New Year's Eve party adventure?
I'm not gonna lie, I love New Year's Eve. I mean, like, I don't do all that much, but I just like it's all starting new, something fresh and fun. But yeah, so specifically going into that, Chris, do you have the coin ready?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Megs, I know when we chat earlier, we have you for Bateman, so we're gonna flip a coin on who's gonna go first. And if it lands on Bateman, that means you go first, and vice versa. Guy, if it lands on Guy, that means you go first. So, go ahead and flip it, Chris.
Do this hopefully where it doesn't like crash and make a huge noise because this is a weighty coin.
It is a pretty hefty coin.
Oh,
I heard that from over there, from across the room.
it's Bateman.
All right.
Megs,
you ready?
Oh, sure. Let's go.
Got 60 seconds on the clock. So you ready, Click?
And here we go. Go.
Who did you choose?
All right. So what makes a good wingman? You want somebody who's going to support and defend you, but also ride along with you, let you get into a little bit of trouble, but still be there to catch you if something goes wrong. So thinking about people who are going to support you in who you are, but also push you into great new heights and maybe get you to do something that you've never done before. I'm going with the lovely Ms. Rachel Silvestrini. What else can you say? The woman knows her stuff. She has been around. She knows things. She would be a great person to have by your side to just have the time of your life in one night.
10 seconds.
Oh, I can just say that she has already proven within already live events that she is a great person to have around for parties, which I'm very looking forward to experiencing.
There you go.
Do me proud, Megs. See you in action.
No pressure. She's in the chat. No pressure.
No pressure. If you don't like,
I know, right? I heard about that. I said, oh no. Love you, girl.
All right. So what I heard was essentially she's a really great traveler. She's going to help you, get some new experiences. But also, she's going to be there to protect you and really support you when needed. Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right. I agree with everything 105 million%. Okay. Caleb, that means you. Who did you pick?
I picked my personal favorite Schmoedown competitor. Is William the Beast Bibbiani. I think this is somebody who hits a lot of your points, actually, being able to support you and being able to kind of push the envelope, help you try something new, do new things. And I think Bibbiani very much has his ear on the cultural pulse. He very much knows the fun kind of unique things to try. He's always talking about all these different things on the critically acclaimed podcast. I think that's going to be very interesting. I think Bibbs is going to kind of go for some out of left field picks, and I think that's going to be very fun. I think he's the perfect person to plan a New Year's Eve party adventure. And I'll yield the rest of my time.
All right.
All right. What were your big takeaways, Chris?
Man, I'm leaning more towards Megs right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Before we kind of go into it, okay.
Yep. But that's just for the opening. So I know both are going to have some good arguments for those, because both, again, like I've said for all their picks on all these other arguments, both of them are really good picks. I even said prior to us doing this tonight, both of these actually might be considered sleeper picks on this choice, because I know a lot of people might think you want to go with your Dagnino, your Kaiser, your party animal type person, but these are both actually really good choices too.
What do you mean, no Burnett?
Burnett's ideal of a perfect New Year's Eve.
Burnett was actually was my wingman. It would be legit be a scene out of The Hangover. We would be like in more danger than actually having fun.
Something would be on fire, I'm sure.
But it would be a day or evening or whatever that you would never forget. That's true. All right, but
or you'd forget all of it.
Alternatively, or you might forget all of it. For sure. Okay, so starting with 4 minutes on the clock, I want you guys to say anything, everything. We might ask you a few questions, Chris and I, here and there, just because if we want to, if we want some questions answered ourselves, if we might give you a paint the picture kind of situation, please indulge us. But let's do it. Silvestrini, Bibbs.
Here we go.
Happy New Year. What happens?
Go.
So, Caleb, I liked your pick of Bibbs. He's an amazing competitor. He's a great personality. However, thinking about him, he reminds me of one of those uncles that you have at a party, and he's hilarious for about an hour and a half. And then after that, he's just annoying. How long can he sit there and talk about movies at a party? And you don't just want to be like, okay, give me some space. Let me kind of do my own thing here, instead of alternatively with Silvestrini, she has been to comedy. She's been to so many other great things. She has a great vat of knowledge that she can pull from and have some great conversations, and also still say, hey, let's just go off and do something else crazy. Bibbs kind of strikes me more as someone who's going to kind of stay in one place and, again, just keep doing the same shtick over and over.
Well, I think Bibbs has shown that he doesn't just talk about movies. If you listen to the Critically Acclaimed podcast, they go off on a lot of different tangents on like LA specific things that aren't just movie related. So I think we know him as a movie guy because that's what his job is, but not everybody is just what they do. They go out on a bunch of different things. I think the problem with Rachel is I think things are going to get too expensive. I am a broke college student, and I don't need that bill going up. Rachel has a lot of good taste, a lot of great taste, but I think Bibbs is going to be able to kind of find the best picks on the cheap, and I think that's going to be very important for someone who might have a budget, but also just have the best time too. I think Bibbs is going to be able to find those just random picks that you wouldn't expect, and I think that's what's perfect.
See, but Rachel can do the same thing. She can rein it in when she feels like she needs to, because she has been everywhere and done about everything. So, and also considering ages, do you want someone who's going to babysit you, or someone you're going to go and be able to just rock out and have fun with?
Whoo!
Okay.
What
I'm saying is if Rachel is going to like some 5-star restaurant in LA and I'm like, oh man, I'm not going to be able to go, or I'm going to get water and breadsticks, please. Or like most people, like I think Rachel has fantastic taste, and I think that might be the issue with her pick. Whereas I think Bibbs, again, he'll be able to kind of go for all these different picks, and I think he'll be able to say, hey, you lead the way. What do you like here? And I think that's a very good thing about Bibbs. And yeah, I mean, this is very hard to argue with someone who is currently in the chat. Not gonna lie. But again,
no pressure.
I think Bibbs is going to be able to just find those weird, obscure gems of picks. And I think that's the important thing.
Okay. Well, okay, just going to paint the picture a little bit.
How are we doing on time?
Okay. Honestly, I think we're fine on time specifically. Can I want to? You guys have. I want to give you guys a situation, and I want you guys to have like a quick minute apiece, and I want guys to paint the picture for me of what you guys think would happen. You guys have. You guys have 1 day to spend with your person that you chose with Silvestrini and Bibbs, and you have $50 total. What are you going to do? What are you going to eat? Where are you going to go? What city is it going to be in? I want to know what's going to happen. Paint
I
the
like
picture
this.
for me.
Very nice.
Any ideas? No ideas yet?
So I could, considering the number of times that I've heard Denuzio talk about Silvestrini being his live event wife, I could see us having a ball of a time just going into dive bars in New York, just skirting in and out of different places, popping in for one thing here, popping over next door, doing something there. Window shopping, you know, you're talking about being conscious. Who knows better than how to window shop than a lady? You know, we can just pop in. We don't even have to try anything on. Just look at everything and just have a ball of time trying different things on each other and being able to just go around and enjoy the town. And again, not having to spend hardly anything at all.
Okay. All right. And Caleb, what would your day look like with $50 to spend with Bibbs in a city of your choice?
Okay, well, the city I am picking is LA because Bibbs has lived in Los Angeles all his life, and I think he's going to know all the little different spots. He's going to be able to pick off, obviously, the Hollywood landmarks, but he's also going to be able to look for some new stuff. He's going to ask you and be like, hey, what do you like? What are you interested in? And he's going to be able to find it. If you like music, he's going to be able to find, like, the musical-related stuff that it's going on in LA. Maybe some free concert that's going down by the bar by this really underrated, not very well known, but great band that's in LA. He's going to be able to find the spots. He's going to cater it specifically to you. And I think that's the important thing, is that he's not going to just be like, this is what I like. He's going to ask you and be like, what do you like? And then he's going to pull from his encyclopedic knowledge of LA and say, okay, this is what we can go off of.
All right. Okay, Caleb in particular, it sounds like you said, Bibbs would be able to kind of give you some weird, really weird, interesting spots that you might have people, the everyday person might not be able to hear about, really kind of able to customize the experience to you and your likes, what your preferences are. But, he's like a LA dude. He knows everything there is to know about LA. So he can definitely give you a site that you've never heard of before. And he can probably get it to you on the cheap. With Silvestrini, I mean, my girl, she and your specifics, Megs, you talked about, it would all be about dive bars and a really great conversation down in New York City until like 5 in the fucking morning. Window shopping, great girl time, great combos. Okay. And also Rachel's bringing to your attention, hey, free concerts are horrible. I get comps and I'll love to bully Mack into what I want to.
I would expect nothing less from her. I will fire right back at it. It's all good.
Okay. Specifically, okay. Now, I know you guys are in the chat, but what do you guys think? You guys heard everything. Now I know we have just our closing statements. I believe that was just like a quick little paint the picture thing we did, but we need to hear closing statements from you guys. All right, Chris, what are you kind of hoping to hear from them in particular, though, real quick?
So from those, here's the thing. I like Caleb bringing up just kind of like Bibbs knowing obscure picks, because like if you actually follow him on Twitter, not just his podcast, but if you also just like see what he's posting day to day, you'll see that he's got some of the craziest opinions on some things sometimes, and that's one of the greatest reasons to even follow him. Rachel, I like what Megs is saying, because I think she is actually she's just pegging Rachel. From what I know about Rachel myself, I think she is pegging Rachel exactly. So I mean, as far as both of these, I don't know. I just want to hear more. I just want to hear more about like both sides. I don't know if there's like one specific thing I'm looking for here at this point. I think they've been well rounded over them. I just maybe a little bit more again as to, I'm gonna throw Caleb under the under the bus here, but maybe a little bit more as to why the other person isn't necessarily the best wingman in comparison.
Oh, that's true. We haven't really heard we've talked about pros. Let's hear about cons.
Good luck,
Absolutely.
Caleb.
So hard to talk about.
Okay. Philip, I want you to tell us why Rachel would be the worst wingman to take. Also,
Can you get Viviani in the chat so it's fair?
Ever. But also, Meg, we want to hear from you why Bibbs would be the absolute worst person to spend an entire day with. Why would it be awful? Let's hear it. 60 seconds, starting with you, Caleb.
Go.
Okay, well, Rachel helped me out in the chat here because she said she is going to boss Meg around. So Rachel's going to be doing the things that Rachel wants to do. And if you are a person whose tastes don't align with Rachel, that is going to be a big problem. Bibbs is going to ask you. Bibbs isn't going to take charge. He's going to give suggestions, but ultimately he's going to leave it up to you. Rachel is going to do what Rachel wants to do, and that is, if you are somebody who likes everything Rachel likes, then that's great, but not everybody has the same taste. That's why everybody has such different opinions on Star Wars movies, and that's the thing. So I think Bibbs is going to say, hey, what do you want to do? Let's plan the night around that. I know everything about LA. Let's have a great time. I yield the rest of my time.
All right. So what I heard is that Rachel is a horrible person that's going to boss you around like a big sister. Okay. Moving on. Moving on to you, Meg. Why is Bibbs the worst person to spend a day with out in LA?
There you go.
So if you're a person who wants to just go and do different things and just not necessarily want to know all the details, he's going to give you a little bit too much. He has all that encyclopedia in his mind, he can't help but spew it out. And if there's someone who isn't really interested in all that, it's going to be extremely boring. And again, as I was saying, you can only handle so much of his big personality for so long before it might go into the annoying phase. So coming back onto Rachel, yeah, she might insist on what you want to do, but if you're willing to stand up to her, you guys might be able to find something different that you didn't even think you guys would want to do, and you're going to have an awesome time at it because she is supportive, she is loyal, she will defend you. And above all else, she loves and supports the Action Army. So who's not going to want to hang out with a fellow member of the Army, because this is Call to Action podcast. So why aren't we going to support one of our own?
Time.
Gosh darn it, Meg. You're really playing up the audience. Stop it.
Hey, I learned.
Done. Jesus, come on.
Someone's trying to butter up the judges here. At least one of them.
Damn it, it's working. Okay, so I have so many feelings, Chris. We're gonna go. Okay, Caleb is a straight up cyberbullying Rachel. Mariana says if Rachel is Star Wars, she's Spaceballs. Pizza the Hut. What's her name? Oh my gosh, I love that movie. My brothers, husbands, brothers, cousins, former roommate. I love that one. It's so good. All right. Specifically, some other things is like, come on now, Meg. In particular. Overall, okay. So, but also,
I know who that is.
One of the judges.
That's hilarious.
Partied 5 hours last night with Rachel. You know what? Whatever. I don't care.
I was in that chat for that. Come on.
Okay, but again, we're not going to be voting personally. Chris, this is not up to Chris and I. This is actually up to you guys in the chat. I just posted on the Facebook group the link, and you guys got to vote ASAP to determine who deserves the win today. Is it Meg with her choice of the rock stars, with Bibbs, with Ben Goddard, or is it Caleb with choosing Bibbs for like the best day of your life? Also choosing the Fife Club and Marisol McKee. So we have so much stuff kind of go over. So please get over there, start voting ASAP right now. We're gonna hang out and wait a few minutes so you guys can go vote and whatever it might be. But okay, let's be real now. Mm-hmm. let's be real though.
Rachel, I apologize. I am so sorry.
So So if somebody that I was going against was in here, I actually had a prepared statement of the contents of my argument do not reflect my full opinions of the topics at hand. They are crafted strictly for the purposes of this debate and should not be viewed as the totality of my viewpoint.
Whammy.
So Caleb, you're welcome. You're welcome to borrow that if you'd like.
Thank you. Yes. What she said.
Yeah, jump on that boat.
And what do I say? What about you, Chris?
Oh, my opinion right here on these two arguments.
It could be about any of it. It could be like anything that say, yeah, Marion's like, I'm just straight up impressed. Whammy.
Yeah, these have all been great. I mean,
yeah.
I'm glad that it's not up to us and it's up to the chat because don't put that kind of pressure on me.
After a while.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
So yeah, no, I mean, I think the biggest thing, especially on this last one, just how I feel about this last one, I think Caleb pretty well nailed how Bibiani is, and I think Meg's pretty well nailed how Rachel is. I'm not sure if the shots fired back on the other sides really work for me, but that's.
In debates, what you do. It's nothing personal.
That's true. That is absolutely true. But do you think Caleb had the short end of the stick with Rachel being in the chat? But hey, he put up a good performance with that pressure anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's applaud on that.
It's really cool. Meg, have you been to a live event before?
No. Again, I've only really been watching consistently since this past summer. I went back to season 5, but the plan is once I get released to travel after April, I'll be coming to the first one that I can. So,
where are you based? If you don't mind me asking.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, where are you based?
Ohio.
Okay. So you're Midwest like me. I'm down here in St. Louis.
But very good.
Yeah. So there's not anything really particularly close to us outside of Chicago.
No. Right. I'll say Chicago might work. If they end up doing Boston, I would definitely be up for that because I've been to Boston before, so I already kind of know a little bit of my way around the city and it wouldn't be quite as intimidating.
Yeah.
Navigating around.
Well, it's kind of perfect because I know Rachel last night, she even talked about it. She's like, if there was a city that I could guarantee a live event going for next season, it would have to be Boston. Boston.
Well, awesome. Boston. Yes.
Boston. I just really want to get a lobster roll. Lobster roll.
Yes. I had some lobster with macaroni and cheese. Oh, girl, so good.
Okay, well, speaking of mac and cheese, do you have an opinion on tuna with mac and cheese?
No, don't do this.
So I actually grew up with my mother putting tuna in my mac and cheese. So I've had it. I will not do it now, but I have a reference point to what that tastes like.
That's fair. Lucas wants to know your thoughts on Skyline chili as well.
I actually don't really like it. I will do macaroni in my chili, but not spaghetti. Just something about the different texture and the way that the noodles are shaped. I won't do spaghetti, but I'll definitely do like elbow noodles or something like that.
Oh, fair. Okay, I can see that. Okay, we're going to give the voting process just one more minute. So, and I noticed there are a little change. Like a few of them have like 18 votes. The other ones have like 22 votes. Another one had like 10 votes. So there's a little variance in there. So if you only voted for one of them, please stop that. Go back and vote for the others. We'd really appreciate it. But what about you, Caleb? Have you been to many live events?
I haven't had the chance because Iowa. I was going to go to Chicago. But that came up like the same weekend that I had like 3 tests, I think. So,
ooh, that's right.
But I am planning because they are doing another one in like June, right? They said yes. I am planning on going to that one in Chicago. So,
awesome.
As soon as you guys can get to a live event, I highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
They're so
pretty much is well, and actually part of what's gotten me even more excited doing live events is I started watching. I was like, oh, it'd be so cool, but not really knowing anybody, it would be slightly awkward. But hey, I've gotten to know you guys. Everybody that I've interacted with so far in Action Army has just been amazing. So I'm super looking forward to being able to just hang out with you guys.
For sure. I mean, like like Action Army. I know you guys over there in the fan leagues. I mean, you guys are super close. You guys interact with each other all the time. You know, I'm still getting into it and everything myself, but I know you guys are super close. And Chris, you and Rob are with the Cinefanatics.
What's up?
You just hit 10,000 subscribers recently. I mean, that's a whole family right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a large family that we fill with so many faces that we don't know.
That's fair, but it's still a family.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so I am tallying it up right now. Okay. Give me a hot minute.
It's actually rather cold here, so hot would be appreciated.
I'm not surprised. It's been pretty kind of warm over here in St. Louis. On Christmas Day, it was like in the 70s, and we were like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, I was not impressed with that. We had a nice blanket of snow the week before Christmas, and it all melted by the time Christmas came around.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
I know. We had like everything like shut down.
I don't know if you guys... We had a ton of sleet and freezing rain on New Year's Eve, so actually the party I was at, we had a lot of people not show up because the roads were getting so bad. So I'm like, well, this is just fantastic.
Woo! Love it. Okay, now. Wow, we have a winner, guys. We have a winner. Drum roll, please, all. It's not loud enough. Are you guys like, does anyone really want an answer? Do you guys really want an answer? Anyone in the chat? Do you guys really care about who wins today?
Yeah, we're good.
Just
No big deal. No big deal. Okay, and so for question number 1, being which incoming rookie has the most potential to be drafted and succeed in the league this season, omitting Robert Parker, like we discussed earlier, and the fans chose with a total of 11 votes. Meg with Ben Goddard. For a total of 19 votes. It's like they chose 11 out of the 19 to be with Ben Goddard. So great job, Meg, on the first question. And moving on to the second question, being, if I can pull it up again. Which new faction will be the most successful by the end of season 7 in the year 2020? With a total of 24 votes. What vote changes, you guys? What's up with that? With a total of 16 out of the 24, it is in favor of Caleb with the 5 Cub.
Ooh, tie.
Good job, buddy.
Okay. Now for the third and final question, being which Schmoedown personality would make the best wingman / woman for a New Year's Eve party? With a total of 20 votes and with 13 out of the 20 in favor of a Miss Rachel Silvestrini.
The chat.
Congratulations, Megs.
I was to say it was slightly unfair having her there, and the fact that I can throw in the Action Army tag. I'll give myself a little bit of a boost on that one. I did plan that one a little bit.
Well, you got to do what you got to do for the win. Congratulations on your first win.
I appreciate it. It was so much fun. Caleb, you were a very formidable opponent. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Well, I'll say, you know what? We're going to do a quick, post-interview real fast. Caleb, please hang on for a hot minute while we chat with Rachel here, and then we'll have you come back on, okay?
Okay.
All right, 1 moment.
We also called her Rachel when her name is Meg, but cool.
Oh, okay, fair. All right, Meg, congratulations on your first Schmoebate win.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I definitely tried to put a lot of work into it, and it looks like it paid off.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, what kind of work did you put into this? What kind of prepping did you do?
Well, specifically for the rookies, I knew that Marisol had been in matches before, so I made sure I watched her performance so that if he brought up her if Caleb was able to kind of bring up what she had done before, I could counter that if I needed to. And just kind of just basing a lot of that knowledge on with Ben, just knowing what he's been around. With the second question on the factions, just thinking back of what I knew about both managers, what they were capable of, and just compiling different reasons why one or the other would be good. And
it's kind of hard to pick some of them, though, right?
It was absolutely very hard, and
no one actively like hates Fife or Grace or Roxy, so it's kind of like difficult.
Yeah, well, and I was glad that Caleb was able to pick his answer first on that one. So I'm like, okay, let's see where he goes. And then once I saw who he picked, I'm like, okay, let's find someone who's going to be a good go against. Because like if he had gone for somebody like, I don't know, well, Kaiser wouldn't have necessarily been a new one, but if he'd gone for like a Sam Levine, I might have actually picked a different faction to counter that. So I didn't necessarily have one in mind. I was going to base my answer based on what he said.
Those are some really good strategy moves right there.
Well, I mean, especially when it comes to debate, I mean, there's a reason why, I mean, people get scholarships for debating, and there's a reason why debating, it's a whole thing. That's a real intense sport, that's for sure.
There's a reason why I'm part of the debate too, and not on the other side.
I know. I'm like, there's parts of it, like reading into, and I know I'm sure Caleb, or any competitor and any person like reading this, like, agrees that, when you see when you look at choices and you're like, without even thinking about what they're going to say, you're like, probably this person, not this person. Like like people can look at like the first question between Ben Goddard and Marisol, be like, okay, I'm more familiar with Ben Goddard. Obviously, this person, right? Hypothetically. Yeah. So people may think that, but you have so you really have to like really kind of combat it with X, Y, and Z, and vice versa. People might be like, obviously, Roxy's gonna like win, and so the person that's with Five Club. Well, in this case, it has to be like, you know what? I need to be able to people are going to automatically think this, so I have to be able to contradict it with this. So
absolutely.
And that's the big thing for that pick of Ben Goddard is that I think that pick was actually a challenging pick. That was an uphill battle you had to fight on that one because you are facing someone who's has had experience in the fan leagues, whereas we don't know Ben's trivia knowledge yet.
Right, absolutely. And something I maybe wasn't able to really capitalize on, but I was gonna kind of jab a little bit on her level of success in the fan league. She's played 2 matches. Yeah, you still don't really know that much about her, so it's still anybody's game.
Absolutely. Very, very young career for sure. All right, well, congratulations again, Meg. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And feel free to hang on. We can hang out and chat for a minute, after we get done recording. But feel free to hang up if you need. I know it's creeping towards 11. We're in the same time zone, so feel free to do whatever you would like to do. And thank you so much. But we're gonna go ahead and bring up Caleb. So thank you.
All right, I'll hang around for a little bit.
All right, perfect. We'll see you in a minute then. Whammy! What's up, boy?
There he is.
Yeah, this was definitely very fun. Very fun. Meg did a fantastic job. I think I made some errors strategically in my ansors.
And what do you feel like your errors were? Like, what do you feel like you really did well, and what do you think you feel like you could have improved on?
I think I should have gone back because, I've went back and watched a lot of game tape. I should have gone back and watched more Schmoebates. I think that's the biggest thing because I didn't know exactly how much the chat played into the decision making. I kind of thought it was the chat had one vote and then the 2 judges had the other votes. And I think had I understood that, I think I would have changed my votes differently. But I don't know. You never know. That's me being a Monday morning quarterback. But no, I think Marisol versus Ben, that one was been such a known quantity, whereas Marisol really, unless you've played in the fan leagues, you don't really know who she is. I do want to make one correction. She's had more than just 2 matches, though the Full Metal Classic doesn't label their matches with their competitors because there are usually like 5 people in one match, so those titles can be ridiculously long. But yeah, no, Meg played a fantastic game. I was happy with my arguments on Fife versus Rockstars. That's probably the one that I spent the most time researching on, so I was very happy. And then,
well, it definitely showed, that's for sure.
And then Rachel versus Bibbs. The minute she answered Rachel Silvestrini, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go with an out of left field pick, and that's why I went for Bibbs.
As a bold move, not play that for him.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, yeah, it was like, congratulations on your first, like technically lost, but your first time, really arguing and debating so well, on here being your first time, like, I know I am horrible at arguments. That's why I'm like hosting it. I'm not competing in it.
Yeah. Honestly, like I think in most cases, in a lot of scenarios, the arguments that you did today probably would have actually won you the match, but you were just up against some like really tough competition today. I think that's all it came down to.
Absolutely. And I also think kind of something I kind of noticed as well is that, like you said, the chat makes a huge part of it. We don't vote, or at least we shouldn't. Chris, I just want to confirm you didn't vote.
I didn't vote, no.
Yeah. But yeah, it makes a huge part of it. And so we are incredibly grateful for everyone involved that really hung out with us today. And, in the chat, we are so grateful. And it's the new year, a lot of new changes and a lot of amazing things coming up. So I'm going to bring back Meg real quickly just to say, thank you to everyone. For before we go ahead and get going, where can we find everyone? Chris, where can we stay up to date with you? What's going on?
Oh, there's so much. Hop on over to the Cinefinatics YouTube channel. That's where we're doing all of our reviews, our reactions. When Schmoedown kicks back in, we're going to be doing more Schmoedown reactions there. We've got our Facebook group. It's the Cinefanatics on Facebook. You can find that easily. You got all of our Twitters, Cinefanatics MLP. Mine is Chris Adams MLP. Just all sorts of places, Instagram, all that. You can follow us everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. Trust me. And not to mention, I love your videos. They're also great. You guys are so cool. I love you and your brother. So wonderful. All right, Caleb, where can we find you up in the fan leagues and all beyond?
Yes, you can find me playing in all the fan leagues, but most importantly, I also run Movie Warzone, which is our general movie trivia division over at Multiplex Entertainment. And that's where, if anybody wants to come play in the same place where Paulo Yama, Chance Ellison, and the new Robert Parker, who's just coming into the Schmoedown, that is one of the places to do it. And I also am usually on NBE doing all the crazy shenanigans that they do over there. But I just want to say this was very, very fun. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and debating some really great, fantastic debates. And last but certainly not least, Meg, where can we find you and kind of stay up to date and what's going on with your life?
Oh, well, if you want to find me on Instagram or Twitter, it's at Megs_reclaimed. And if you follow along with the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook page, you will have noticed that during the teams tournament as well as Spectacular, I did some kind of match score recaps, some graphics showing all of those, so you can kind of keep tabs on what's been going on there. And I'm hoping to continue to do more of that and just be a little bit more involved from the statistical side of things in the Schmoedown, wherever I can plug in.
Well, I definitely, I was like, I know you just started getting into Schmoedown, just feel like just a few months ago, but it's crazy how much can change in so little time. So we're so immensely grateful for you both to be involved in tonight's match. And yes, Paul wants to say the Cinefanatics are Cinefantastic.
Absolutely.
Paul's good with those puns. Yeah, and by extension, Rachel is pretty wonderful. But we at C2A, we love Cinefanatics, are wonderful all across the board. I am Alex Mack, known as Mac Daddy here, part of the Call to Action crew. And the Schmoebates is my baby. Please, thank you so much for hanging on with us and voting and participating. I can't appreciate you more. It's just so awesome. And I can't wait to see a lot of you guys come the awards show and draft and everything next week. It's going to be a blast. We have a bunch of new stuff, and Chris and Robert going to be there. It's going to be hella fun. But so many people are going to be there. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and head out. We have a lot of stuff for C2A. Please check us out on Twitter and on Instagram and our Facebook group. Facebook group, not book. But yeah, Happy New Year. And we can't wait to see you all in 2020 throughout. Love you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Yeah.